luxury water, Tough Shed, SMT Financial.
Something about that is literally giving me steroid rage, but I'm pretty sure I'm not right about that. Allegedly. But anyway, y'all know we have been studying Claressa Shields' psychology for a while, because at this point, this isn't just tea. It's literally a case study. There's a particular layer to her psychology that I have been sitting on. And not because it's insignificant, but because I wanted to be precise. I don't do nitpicking. I do pattern analysis. And the most compelling part, we don't even have to speculate. We're going to use her words and the words of her associates. Muffins, let me ask you this. Does it ever feel like she's not battling the public and the bloggers, but that she's battling herself? Because when someone loudly declares one identity over and over, sometimes that's not them trying to empower themselves. That's literally them trying to internally negotiate their own identity. It's almost like she knows that she's being fake. So she's putting on this act and this performance in order to convince not only us, but herself of a certain identity. Let's get into this mess. I'm Nylah Says, and this isn't just a gossip channel. Over here, we analyze, we contextualize, and we weaponize wisdom. Because gossip is entertainment, but understanding is power. Because every scandal has a lesson. So let's get to it. What if this isn't about jealousy? And what if it's not even about competition? What if what's really happening is we're watching this woman struggle, not only with her femininity, not only with her confidence, but with her sexuality? So this is Jada. Jada is a former friend of Clarissa. They actually live together, box together. They have a history. Now, Jada did introduce the topic of Clarissa being bisexual way back then, but she's not the only one. Let's revisit this, and we're going to analyze this and kind of juxtapose it to Clarissa's behavior. Let's go.
You don't know what I had to go through those 5 months of living with her. Bro, do y'all know how uncomfortable it is to stay with somebody and they're always ordering sex toys? Yeah, this child always ordering sex toys, a bunch of little purple baggies coming to her house, and you're trying to, you should use this. You should do this. This helps me not stress out. Girl, get out my face. I don't even play them type of games. I'm not of the spirit of confusion, bro. I don't do that homosexuality stuff. I said what I said. Like, men is supposed to be with women, and women is supposed to be with men. I said what I said. I don't care. Ain't never rocked that way.
So this isn't the first time I've heard this. I've actually heard from multiple individuals, people either related to or closely associated with her, about these alleged menage a trois dynamics involving her friend Nigeria and her ex Tony Rich. And when you hear something once, that's definitely noise. When you hear it twice, it's coincidence. But when it's coming from three separate sources, that's when it becomes a pattern worth examining. But I do have to throw a disclaimer. You could have like 100 people repeating the same lie as well. But we definitely are peeping the patterns here. So let me be clear. I'm not here to police anyone's consensual adult relationship. That's not the point. The point is behavioral consistency. Because when certain narratives keep resurfacing and they align with publicly observable behavior, you have to at least consider the psychology. Because we cannot ignore something else that absolutely matters here, and that is the documented SA trauma. Trauma doesn't just disappear because someone becomes successful, gets a new relationship, or anything like that. It actually informs attachment, boundaries, and how sexuality is expressed. And sometimes what people interpret as boldness is actually some sort of dysregulation. Now, when you think about how like sometimes she says stuff that is just kind of like brass and like over-sexualized in an inappropriate moment, that doesn't automatically make her or anyone immoral, but it can signal that there's an unresolved trauma or some sort of identity fragmentation. Because sometimes when trauma isn't integrated, it shows up as a performance. It shows up as shock value. And sometimes it shows up as sexual bravado. And this is where it connects back to the Remy dynamic. Because if parts of your identity were formed in survival, and now you're in a relationship where softness is the currency, what do you do with the parts of you that don't fit the archetype? Let me say it another way. When a woman has a history of trauma-informed sexuality and then finds herself attached to a man whose blueprint is something entirely different, that creates tension. And tension always demands a resolution. Sometimes that resolution looks like growth, and sometimes it looks like identity suppression. So now we have to ask, is she competing with Remy or is she studying her? Because there's a difference between admiration and adaptation. And adaptation under pressure, baby, that can start to look like erasure. Who is she becoming, Muffin?
Do y'all know how uncomfortable it is to sit there and live with somebody, and because you won't do what they ask you to do, or because they hinting around for a threesome, not with just the one that you're with now, but the one that you was with before, the one that was in the house before, you know, the one that you cheated on with to get with the one that you're with now. Yeah, because let's talk about it. I stayed there from at the end of May to September 27th is when I stayed with Clarissa and was training with her and stuff. And once again, why did I stay with her? Because she asked me to. I didn't want to stay with her. I didn't say didn't want to, but I didn't ask her. I didn't say, oh my gosh, Clarissa, I don't have nowhere to go. Like, oh my gosh. It was not that. You're trying to sit there and make it seem like you were like savior to me. Like you saved me from something, bro. It was nothing like that. You literally said you were depressed and it looked like it. Yeah. You were fat and depressed, and you were over 200 pounds. And you always do this to people. You always do this to people. She done it to somebody recently. You always do this to people. You do people wrong every chance you get, and then when you're good, when you think you're good, because you're really cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs up here, yeah.
So y'all already know this is not the first time that we've heard about her issues with relationship boundaries. We have heard multiple accounts from different people talking about this pattern of her moving in on someone else's man, even when they're related to her. And when you start hearing consistent narratives about someone crossing emotional or relational boundaries, whether it's a friend, acquaintance, or even within a family, that's no longer isolated behavior. That's a style, honey. In the Remy situation specifically, what made it striking wasn't just the romantic overlap, it was the proximity, the reported attempts at friendliness while simultaneously engaging with her man. That's not just competition, that's strategic positioning. And when someone repeatedly operates in competitive proximity with other women, that often signals something deeper than just pettiness. Some women just cannot have a relationship with a woman outside of it being competitive. It's just the way that they are wired. For instance, if you see that your mama is a hoe and that she will mess around with her friend's man, her cousins, her sisters, or whatever, think about how you're going to relate to other women as you grow up. You got to really think. Her mother was a clucker, right? And we know what cluckers do for money. Every man that they can. You know what I'm saying? So she probably absolutely grew up seeing someone very hypersexual, someone with no chill, and someone with absolutely no loyalty. Just really think about it. Her own mother, which is so hard for me to say this, but her own mother offered her up. So this had a lot to do with how Clarissa viewed herself and how her sexuality was shaped.
Not you hinting around for a threesome and then you get mad. Why? Because I rejected you? Bro, I'm not gay. I don't roll that way. Just because I can fight, it doesn't mean that. I know a lot of girls when they play basketball, when they box, when they act very masculine, baby. Beside the ring, outside the ring, you will see me in the house, cooking, cleaning. Oh, baby, that's not an insult to me. I love doing stuff like that. I love being feminine, you know, because I'm a woman. I have no problem. Baby, I can't wait to be somebody's wife. What? Just because you done humped the whole Olympic team and whatnot, carpet munching and whatnot, doesn't mean I don't go, bro, I don't even roll that way. I don't got no experience like that. Never found another woman attractive. Bro, be for real. I just don't play. Like, make it make sense. I'm not with the confusion, bro. God is not the author of confusion. You want to get mad at me because I denied, because I kept rejecting you? Bro, I'm not one of them. I'm not the woman that you done said. No, I'm not one of them. Let me stop before I name more names. Anyways.
And let's not ignore the moment when a rival boxer publicly claimed to her face that they had been involved. Now again, whether the allegation is true or not is not the point. The point is frequency. When all these similar narratives surface across different environments, former associates, friends, rivals, it literally changes how the overall pattern is interpreted. Because once you hear the same theme echoed from multiple directions, your brain stops processing it as random gossip. Instead, it starts processing it it as potential behavioral consistency, and that shifts the lens.
You obviously do. The fact that our one got us here.
Yeah, sure.
The fact that we were both screaming at each other got us here.
I didn't have sex with you.
You did.
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 It's the fact that I even gave you attention. I had to build
You're
you up.
joking. You lost the plot.
I had to
Your
build
bed
you
fell
up.
off.
I had to build.
Now, here's where it gets interesting to me. We have never witnessed her demonstrate sustained emotional regulation in high conflict situations before. She always escalates every single time. So if someone is publicly lying on your vagina, you gonna remain that composed? Girl, bye. We have seen her react explosively over business disputes, over interviews, and over perceived disrespect. You know, kind of like she did on Franchon. Emotional reactions aren't random muffins. They're proportional to what triggers us. So the question becomes, why does she lose control over reputation but not over identity? She will flip the tables over branding, but stay composed when someone questions or tells her about her sexuality in her face. That kind of selective composure isn't accidental. This is very strategic. I think the white girl pulled her whole card. Literally, allegedly. And as I said since the beginning of this video, there have been multiple people talking about Clarissa, quite frankly, playing for the other team, for lack of better words. Her relationship with her stylist, Nigeria, who's also her best friend, who frequently fights with her sister. We have heard from a very close relative of hers that there was a relationship, that she was having threesomes with her and Tony Rich. Now, of course, we don't have the proof of it, but I'm just saying, it's all starting to add up. Allegedly, of course. So now let's discuss the dynamics between her and Pap. Nigeria and other women are constantly in the mix with them. Is there something going on? Is Clarissa delivered? I mean, we didn't forget about what Papoose said about Remy having affairs with other women. Does he have a different capacity for these entanglements because he doesn't care for Clarissa as deeply as he did Remy? Or is he just going along with whatever Clarissa is bringing since she's attached to the bag? Or maybe he really didn't mind Remy being with other women. Maybe it was really because she didn't invite him to participate. Allegedly. Let's go back down memory lane and take a listen and be messy.
She's been home a couple years. I don't remember exactly what year it was, but she informed me, hey, such and such just came home, one of the individuals who she was locked up with. So I said, oh, okay, that's cool. But I remember the name from when she was away. I don't think nothing of it. Oh, this year, we always celebrate our birthdays together. Me, her, and the baby birthday, my birthday, our family. They all come around. It's like, that's how I was raised, so I'm real big on family. So this particular year, she says, I want to have an all-girls party. So I'm like, okay. So you don't want me and the baby to come? All right. No, just my friends, all girls. I'm like, damn, that's a little, I don't want to say strange, but I was like, okay, we usually do it as a family, but this is cool. You want to have it with all girls. So she has the all-girls party. I don't go. I falls back. The friend who's incarcerated comes to the crib. She attends the all-girls party, all the friends, cool. After that, we had like a little dinner in the basement or whatever at the crib. So this is the first time I seen homegirl outside of when they was in the penitentiary together. So I see her at the crib. Okay, she stayed for a couple days. She spent the night. Cool. Little activity was a little weird, but I didn't think nothing of that. Moving on along, she comes back to the crib on another occasion. So this time when she comes to visit the crib, every night when it's time to go to bed, she's telling me, oh, I'm gonna go sleep in the guest room with such and such. I don't even want to say this individual name because I ain't even trying to give her no clout. She's a extreme clout chaser. So I don't even want to say her name. So she tells me, I'm going to sleep in the guest room with such and such. I said, okay, that's cool. I sleep in the room by myself. Big ass crib, big ass room, everything. You know what I'm saying? Everything that I bought through the whole crib, all the utilities in my name. That's another story, but she fabricated. Moving on along, that's documented too, because I've been paying it out the same account for over 15 years, whatever, or more. Moving on along, I sleep in the room by myself. I don't think nothing of it. Next day, same thing. I said, damn, babe, you sleeping in there again? She like, yeah, I'm just staying with such and such, right? I said, all right, cool. Anybody in Bedford Hills, can you please step to the front? So now I'm like, damn, this shit weird. What the hell? You feel me? So at this time, I try to be intimate. I'm keeping it 100 with you. I try to be intimate with her. And she came into bed with me. She hugged and kissed me, the whole thing. And at this time, I'm trying to be intimate with her. When it's time to go down, she slipped out of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, okay. After she do that, she go back to sleep in the room with homegirl this particular night. I said, something is fishy here. I said, I ain't no rocket scientist, but this ain't adding up. You feel me? So I said, damn, something wrong, something ain't right here. So one time, I had to go do something. I had to go handle some business. So I go handle business. I come back in the crib. It's a big ass crib. And they got like a long walkway to get to our bedroom. It's like a long walkway. And then on the other side is the other rooms. So I come in the crib. As soon as I walk in, I look down towards our bedroom. I see my daughter in our room by herself. I say, yo, what the heck? Where the hell is she at? So I go up the other side. And when I tell you this is a big crib, so it's a long walkway. I go to the other side, I go in the room, she in the bed. I don't see homegirl though. It's like she booked it or something when I came. But I see a whole plate, peanuts, cashew, all these type of raisins all laid out. But my daughter in the room by herself. So I said, yo, why the baby in the room by herself? She made some bullshit excuse. Extreme liar. You never seen a liar like this in your life. I said, where homegirl at? She didn't even answer that. It was just like a weird answer. I pushed past that. Moving on along. I hate to say this, y'all. I hate to say this. But you want to know why she started having so much animosity towards me? Because I ended up finding out the truth, y'all. And I'm not saying this because it's a bad thing, but I'm saying this because, when I say not a bad thing, because I don't judge people who live that lifestyle. But she has done a lot of bashing towards people who live that lifestyle and talk so bad about them and say so many foul things about them that it hurted her so bad that I knew the truth. So on another day, I caught her with this individual in our house while my daughter was on the bed with them. Ended up catching it. Now, this individual is a female. So I can't do nothing to her. I don't put my hands on females. Y'all want to know what I did? I told the individual, I said, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm going to be honest. I didn't put my hands on her because I'm not going to do that. I don't hit women.
So Pap is telling us a lot without telling us a lot. He feels the need to tell us that he did not put hands on her. Why does he think that we would think that he would? It's because the thought is there. He must have had some very, very strong visceral reaction, and he wants to let us know that he's not violent. But why did his mind already go straight to violence? Anyway, doesn't seem like this is his cup of tea. So at some point, you have to stop asking if it's just a little drama going on here, or start asking, is there some sort of relationship agreement here? And like I said earlier, we can't ignore that Pap himself publicly accused Remy of engaging in relationships with women. That narrative came directly from him. So the question becomes, does he operate with a broader tolerance for certain dynamics, or does his tolerance shift depending on who he's emotionally invested in? Because when a man is deeply attached, his jealousy threshold looks really different. His boundaries look different. His protectiveness looks different. But when the attachment is more transactional, when there are career benefits, visibility benefits, financial alignment, the emotional rules can soften up a little bit. So, is he emotionally invested or strategically aligned? Is he regulating the situation because he's secure or because he's indifferent? Is this a relationship rooted in depth or utility? Because sometimes a man's capacity for entanglements doesn't expand because he's evolved. It expands because he doesn't give a damn. So when you step back and remove the noise, what you're really looking at isn't just drama. You're looking at a woman with documented trauma, repeated allegations that challenge her public image, and a pattern of competitive proximity with other women, and a relationship where the blueprint of the previous partner is very clear. And when all those variables collide, something has to adjust. If the relationship is strategic, if there are financial incentives, brand alignment, public visibility at stake, then authenticity becomes very negotiable. And when authenticity becomes negotiable, identity becomes very, very flexible. So maybe this isn't about sexuality. Maybe it isn't about jealousy. Maybe it isn't even about Remy. Maybe it's all about survival. Survival inside relationships, survival inside branding, survival inside an archetype that doesn't naturally fit. And when survival becomes the driving force, suppression starts to look like growth. Performance starts to look like femininity, and composure starts to look like confidence. But suppression, baby, it always leaks. And that's exactly why this pattern keeps resurfacing. So I want to know, do you guys think that this is something that she is struggling with? Or do you think that she's actually openly bisexual and we're just catching on? Which one is it? And is Pap okay with this? Get down in the comments. Let's talk about it. And if you like my commentary, please click like and hype this video. And if you don't like it, you still can come back. You still can comment because you're bound to return and find something that will entertain you or be of intellectual benefit.